You're listening to Saturday Morning Media. And now, back to our show. Here we go. Welcome to the GrantCast. My name is Grant Baciocco. It is a pleasure having you here today, listening to this episode. Thank you for downloading. Thank you for subscribing. If you're subscribed to the podcast, thank you for being a patron. If you are a patron of Saturday Morning Media. Now, if my voice sounds different at all, that's because I'm in the studio that I'm usually in when I record these wonderful little things for you, but it is mostly empty. And it is, even though there's still stuff in here, it's very echoey. So, yeah, that's what's happening. And I just wanted to do one more little recording before I left. This will probably not be a long magnum opus, but I don't know. I don't know if I'd have to look back through the thing. Here's the great thing. Stephen Staver is helping me transcribe all the episodes of the GrantCast going back. So I don't know if I did a recording of the GrantCast from my old office before I moved from there. I'd have to go back and look in the archives. I don't, off the top of my head, I don't think I do, but it's very possible that I could have. But anyway, I just wanted to do a one final recording from here. The computer and everything, my studio, will probably be broken down starting tomorrow morning. And then we'll be at the new studio. I did a little test recording in the new studio just on my iPhone, and the room sounds good. There's a lot of airplanes. Of course, I had the sliding door. Where my new studio will be, there's sort of a sliding door that looks out onto the backyard. And it was a nice day, so I had that sliding door open. And, man, those airplanes are loud. But, we'll work on it. We'll see what it is. And it's not forever. So that is what I keep telling myself. So anyway, this is the final recording from... I never named this studio. When I started doing the radio adventures of Dr. Floyd in my apartment that was on Hood Avenue in Burbank, we called it Hood Avenue Studios. And then when I got an office, it was called Dr. Floyd Studios. And even though shortly after moving into the office, we stopped producing Dr. Floyd, it was always kind of called Dr. Floyd Studios. And then I moved here, and I don't know, this room was never given a studio name, but... it probably, if you have to name it by what was produced the most in this room, it would be Toyley Studios, I guess. And he would demand that it be called so. Here we go. We are moving a ton of, first of all, I'm going to go back to that, but I just wanted to throw this out there. It was so great. Lance Anderson, podcaster Lance Anderson, who Verge of the Fringe is the name of his show. He is working on a project, which I don't want to say too much about because I don't know much of what's out there. But I will say, I think it's okay to say this. It is about the early days of podcasting. And part of the project is pairing podcasters together to talk about the early days of podcasting. And I was paired up with the one and only Dan Class, who I've mentioned on this show before, who has been on the GrantCast before when I was doing my 15 Minutes with Grant's Friends. Lance was also on the podcast as well. Dan and I spent about an hour and a half talking about the early days of podcasting, and it was great. It was so much fun. I don't know where this audio is going to be housed. I don't know what's going to be done with it, but I was honored to be a part of it, and I was honored to be there in the early days of podcasting and make friends with people. Dan and I don't talk every week, but, we talk regularly, and Lance and I don't talk every week, but we talk regularly. So podcasting is definitely a large portion of my life, and it was super fun to do. All right, so I just want to finish with this story. We are moving, and part of moving when you're getting your house ready to sell is to have, little things done to it so it looks nice. When the prospective buyers come walking by, they can look at it and they say that it looks nice. So we hired a guy who's going to come actually through the realtor. We hired a guy who's going to come do a little fixing things, the things that need fixing all around the house. And super nice guy. That's not what this story is about. This story is about I was loading the car one day, and I got a phone call from a phone number. It wasn't like an unlisted number. It didn't say spam risk, but there was nothing identifying this phone number. It was just a random phone number that I had never seen before, and it was not coming up as somebody who was in my phone book. So I answer the phone, and the person says, I'm not going to use their real name. In fact, I don't even think I remember it, but it was a woman, or was a female-sounding voice. I don't know how to say that nowadays, but that's what it was. And this person said their name, and then they said that they were calling from a branch of Chase Bank. That's how it was put. Hello, Mr. Baciocco. I am so-and-so, and I'm calling from a branch of Chase Bank. And I just wanted to get some information for you about a check that you had written. And so instantly I'm like, okay. And this person says, in order to do this, could I get your date of birth and the last four numbers of your social security number? And I said, no, you may not. Well, sir, I need this to verify this check. And I said, assuming to call the bluff, I said, well, you say you're calling from a Chase branch. Which branch are you calling from? Oh, I'm calling from the branch in Sherman Oaks. I said, okay. Now, Sherman Oaks is about 20 minutes, depending on traffic, away. By the time you get to the car, get on the freeway, everything is about 20 minutes away. But I go, okay, great. I'm on my way over. Oh, well, sir, the reason I'm calling is so you don't have to come over here. And I said, no, I would feel safer coming over there. What's the branch? Well, sir, you don't have to come over here. You can just tell me your last four digits of your social security number and your birth date, and this will be fine. And I said, no, I'm going to come over there, because I was like, I'm going to call this person's bluff because everything about this is fishy. And the way this person on the other end of the phone was like really protesting me driving out there was just hilarious. And so I was like, nope, I'm getting in the car right now. I'm not that far away. I'll be over there as soon as I can. What's the address? And so this person did give me the address. Now I'm on the phone, so I didn't have time to like look it up and see if it's a legit bank or whatever. And I'm just like, oh, this is going to be fun. I don't know what's going to happen when I get there, but this will be hilarious. This person just really didn't want me to come out there. And I just said, no, I'm on my way. Well, sir. And I go, well, who was the check written to? Oh, because this person kept saying that the check looked different from the other checks that we have written in the past. I'm like, well, okay, well, who's the check to? And then she goes, well, I can't tell you that. I have to get your birth date and your last, four digits of your social security number. And I said, well, I'm not going to give that to you. And then the person said the name of the person who wrote the check. And I said, oh, yeah, that wrote that check. Oh, can you confirm how much it was for? It was for this much. Oh, okay, that's all I needed. I just needed to confirm that. And so I said, okay, this was a totally inappropriate way to call and ask for that information. The first thing out of your mouth was, what is your birth date and social security number? I'm not going to give that to you. Oh, I understand, sir. I understand. We just had to check to make sure that you actually wrote this check. And, I was not happy. And I was like, how do I call Chase and tell them that their tellers, and the check was totally legit. And what I think happened was when they said it didn't compare with other checks is I usually don't write a lot of checks from that account. This is probably the first check I've written from that account in a year or whatever. So yeah, the handwriting looked different. That was just a filler story to fill out the rest of this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks for checking out this episode of the GrantCast. Hope to be back soon with another episode from the new studio, whatever it may be named. Thank you for listening. Thank you to all the patrons. Thank you for subscribing, and I will talk to you soon. This episode of the GrantCast was edited by Stephen Staver, who probably did the artwork as well. This episode was made possible by the Saturday Morning Media Patreon patrons who have gone to patreon.com/Saturday Morning Media and set up a pledge for as little as $1 a month. Big shout out to all of our patrons, and a special shout out to our patron producers, Eve Cunning, Kathy Crawford, Andrew Calcagno, Tony Urbano, Brandy, David Akers, Paul, Scott Armstrong, and Vicky Sebring. Patrons at the behind-the-scenes level and above get access to a video of the recording of this episode. If you'd like to become a patron and receive every episode of the GrantCast before it is released, visit patreon.com/Saturday Morning Media and set up your monthly pledge today. And thank you for your support. This episode of the GrantCast is copyright 2023 Saturday Morning Media, Grant Baciocco, executive producer, all rights reserved. www.saturdaymorningmedia.com.
You've been listening to Saturday Morning Media. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.